Just show some love. Put up your hands and show some love. Wave your rag now and show some love. Show some love, just show some love. Stop the fighting, my brother. Fighting, my brother. Stop the hate, my friend. Hate, my friend. Let's all come together. All come together. I miss the love is the trend. Love is the trend. No matter your color. No matter your color. It no matter who you be. No matter who you be. Just be proud where you're from now. Proud, proud, proud. Say I am Guyanese. I am Guyanese. Stop the fighting, my brother. Fighting, my brother. Stop the hate, my friend. Hate, my friend. Let's all come together. All come together. I miss the love is the trend. Love is the trend. It no matter your color. No matter your color. It no matter who you be. No matter who you be. Just be proud where you're from now. Proud where you're from. Say I am Guyanese. I am Guyanese. Just show some love. Put up your hands and show some love. Wave your hand now and show some love. Show some love. Just show some love. Everybody right now. Just show some love. Put up your hands and show some love. Wave your hand now and show some love. Show some love. Just show some love. Some of us a long time we never link up. We used to line on the corner and drink up. Sometime we used to play ball. Yes, cricket and sometime football. I don't know what really happened to me. Why the fighting, the hate and the jealousy. At the end of the day when we thinking it's not 6 months ago we the line it. Stop the fighting, my brother. Stop the hate, my friend. Let's all come together. I miss the love is the trend. It no matter your color. It no matter who you be. Just be proud where you're from now. Say I am Guyanese. I am Guyanese. Just show some love. Put up your hands and show some love. Wave your hand now and show some love. Show some love. Just show some love. Everybody right now. Just show some love. Put up your hands and show some love. Wave your hand now and show some love. Show some love. Just show some love.
Long time, I know you're watching, can't help but keep on blushing.
Bunty Singh,
Sabita,
Mahat.
तूने सितारे पहचान सा मुकरा क्या कहना उसका आफरी धावत में जैसे हो शाही टुकड़ा उसके जैसे ना कोई नाज़नी शाही जोड़ा पहन के आई जो बन ठन के वही तू मेरे सीधात है शर्माई सी बगल में जो बैठे है दुल्हन के वही तू मेरे सीधात है शाही जोड़ा पहन के आई जो बन ठन के वही तू मेरे स्वीकात है शर्माई सी बगल में जो बैठे हैं दुल्हन के वही तू मेरे स्वीकात है
it's a long time, I know you're watching, can't help but keep on blushing, hoping that we never fight. It's a long time, I know you're watching, can't help but keep on blushing. I will be your sweetheart.
Life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Thomas Edison. This is Get Real with Shameeza, and I'm your hostess, Shameeza Ali, and it is a pleasure sharing this time with you tonight. Salam, namaste, and a special good evening to everyone joining us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Island Zone Radio, and on NTN channel 69 in Georgetown, Guyana. For everyone observing fasting during this phenomenal time in our lives, I hope our fasting and prayers are accepted. Please share this live on Facebook. And if you are watching on NTN channel 69 in Guyana, please log in on your Facebook and tell us where you're watching from tonight. And please like and follow our page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Even though Women History Month has ended, the battle of women's rights continues. A recent event of domestic abuse in our community has shocked many of us. It is an unfortunate event, and I ask for your prayers for all the families. As I listened to both sides of the story, there were many red flags that were ignored. From a mother-in-law who insulted her daughter-in-law shamelessly, to a father who refused to get involved in his daughter's marriage, even though she pleaded with him about her husband's infidelity and abuse. As a parent, you have failed your children. Domestic abuse is not only about the abuser and the victim, it's also about the outsiders who are observing and refuse to do anything. Let's be the change we want to see. As most of you know, I am the founder of Safari for Hope organization. Our mission is to create opportunities and empower the less fortunate and victims of domestic abuse. I'm asking for your help. Please support us in any way that you can. We will be having a fundraiser in August. We will share the flyer with you soon. We move on now to our giveaway. I want to say special congratulations to Mona Lisa Jai. She was our winner of last week's box. Tonight's giveaway is compliments of Vermin Bidesi Children's Foundation and BuyEasy.com. Here is your chance to win this prize. Last week, we had an open discussion on women's rights. What is the name of the woman that led the protests of female workers at the Leonora Sugar Estate? Again, what is the name of the woman that led the protest of female workers at the Leonora Sugar Estate? Answer that question for your chance to win that special prize. And while you do that and share the live with others, please listen to a message from our sponsors.
Kai Chu Restaurant has been serving our community for over 25 years. We offer an enticing selection of West Indian traditional dishes along with a fully stocked bar. Bring your family and friends to our newly renovated dining room to celebrate your special occasion or event with us. We do catering and we also deliver. Kai Chu has 2 locations to choose from. Support our community and eat local. Looking for something to get rid of that fine line wrinkles? Well, look no further. You can now indulge yourself with Truly Flawless. This one-of-a-kind, anti-aging caviar luxury face cream will give you that youthful-looking glow again. It's not only for you ladies, men can also benefit from this product too. Try it for yourself and see results within a week. Check out our website at www.trulyflawlessskincare.com and on Amazon Prime. We are also excited to launch our newest skincare products coming in March 2022.
Enos Driving School offers training for CDL licenses, including tractor trailers, trucks, and school buses. Just think, with a CDL license, you can have access to thousands of driving jobs at large companies such as FedEx, UPS, MTA, or New York Sanitation. Enos Driving School also offers defensive driving courses and training classes for cars and motorcycles, all taught by their college-trained instructors who can even schedule your road test appointments. Inquire about other driving and training packages as well. You might even be qualified for their free CDL training, as they are a certified institution with the New York State Workforce One program. Call Enos Driving School today. They've been serving our community for over 10 years.
Sherry's Weakness for Sweetness is a family-owned and operated bakery with a West Indian flair. We specialized in custom cakes, decorative desserts, and a contemporary spin on traditional West Indian cuisine. We are located at 114-07 Jamaica Avenue. Hours of operations are Tuesday through Friday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Memories should always be this sweet. Come visit us today.
All right, welcome back. I want to say a special good evening to Amit Kumar, who is joining us, Gayatri Prasad, Arlene Badubash. Guys, let us know where you're joining us from. I would love to know where you are. And, I want to take this opportunity to wish you all a pleasant good evening. Sharon Dubé is joining us from Canada. Selena Mango, good evening to all of you. I do want to get to our guest because I know he's patiently waiting to be introduced. For many of you, he needs no introduction, but he is considered an expert in enterprise customer success, business transformation, and cloud commercial business models. But to people who know him well, they see him as a gentle soul that is genuinely humble and kind. Please welcome Chris Singh. Welcome, Chris. How are you?
I'm quite well, Shameeza. Nice to be here. Very nice to be on your show.
Pleasure having you here. Chris, I know a lot of the viewers that's joining us right now is here because of you, and they are your supporters as well. So I want to thank them for being here tonight, and I'm sure you're looking at the comments and seeing a lot of those familiar names and faces to go with it.
Gosh, it's great to see them. I wish it could be in person. We live now in a virtualized world, but great to see the support. Great to see the folks coming on, friends, cousins, family. But I have to tell you, I've presented in front very large audiences, including Bon Jovi and some other celebrities. My mother was never excited for those, but this one, she was extraordinarily excited because her son was speaking to or with our Guyanese-based community. So she's extremely excited by this, for sure.
Good night to your mom, and I'm happy that she's able to see this with us and be a part of this, because I think it's important. Like you said, you are a busy person, you're an important person, and to take the time to really be here this evening really means a lot. And I can see our Ocean View folks are joining us one by one. They're coming in, and I'm excited to see them as well. Now, Chris, you and I both grew up in Ocean View, Iflat. Can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing and what it was like growing up in Ocean View, Iflat?
No, thanks a lot. Yeah, I was born much like you, right by the ocean, literally about 1, 2, 3 homes away from the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
So flooding was a common thing back then, because as the high tides came in, you'd wade knee deep in water. So it was great growing up in Ocean View, right by the ocean. But what really did it for me, my first 10 years of my life was spent in Ocean View, was my parents and the community that we were surrounded by. My dad was a medical practitioner. He had many, many businesses in Guyana. And it was amazing to see up close and personal somebody who selflessly gave so much of his life to our community. Less fortunate. I know for a fact that times when I was a kid, doors would be knocking. Back then, when you had a little bit of fortune, you have to worry about, bandits and people coming in and harming you. So at 2 a.m., you would get a knock on the door, and talk about courage and bravery and selflessness. he would come down quite often, knowing fully well that there would be no money coming back for treatment. And he would get out and render his service to the community. My mom would, back then, sometimes power outages was common. She would have a bottle lamp holding it so he can see, in helping people, either stitching somebody's wounds or prescribing certain kinds of medication. So this selflessness on community and giving back, I've been exposed to since I was little. You're often raised by communities in Guyana. I mean, I can think of many times when I did some wrong and some perfectly, um, stranger would say, a perfect stranger would come up to you and smack you on the head, and you couldn't tell anybody about it, but just sit back. So it's really great growing up in Ocean View, and being part of a community. I mean, if you look at the beauty about Guyana, you've got religions that exist very, very peacefully. I've had very many Christian and Muslim friends. I identify with a Hindu background. And when it was Eid, Ramadan, any Christmas, Easter, we all got together and really have this celebratory unity that many countries would be very, very envious of. So it was really great seeing that kind of tapestry within the community. And then after I was 10, we decided again that building a well where there is a drought, thought it was time to really move to an area where help was needed. And he wanted to get closer to the main road and really help. We moved to Ocean View. For those who may not know, it's about the midway point between Vredenhoop and Parika, and it's on the west coast. We were more inland, a little bit closer to the Atlantic Ocean. It's predominantly an Indian community. My dad, again, this courage and bravery of helping people, he saw no colors. He decided to move right in the heart of Iflut, which was Iflut Front, which was predominantly an African Black community. And we moved there, and I can tell you this, I've lived there for about 3-4 years of my life. And I have to say that everything that deals with courage, deals with diversity and inclusion, understanding people, understanding that despite color of your skin, that at the heart of the matter, we're all connected as human beings, and there's no separator in humanity, certainly not by color, creed, race, or religion. And that was deeply instilled in me, because when you watch your dad cradling a little Black child and nursing them back to health, and there was no consideration for race, it teaches you something very, very strong and important. And my mom, she was a businesswoman. I don't think what people knew, most of the licenses my dad had was the area distributor for all of West Coast for alcohol, tobacco, and many other products, including cooking gas. My mom ran those businesses quite successfully. Betty Singh, my dad's name was Naranjan Singh. So between the two of them, they were superb role models. I'm blessed with 4 sisters. Each one of them, I can hold my head high in the air and really proclaim that I'm their brother, and fiercely proud of them, especially when we migrated in 1983, I believe, to Canada. We had an affluent lifestyle in Guyana, and once we came, you had to reinvent your life. So in a nutshell, that's the Ocean View Iflut experience.
Now, I think, when you look back at your life, I know we both attended the same high school as well, Zeeburg Secondary, which is one of the schools that I proudly, my aunts and uncles from my dad's side also attended. So it's one of those places that you're very proud of, right? Myself and my brother, we attended at school, and now I have my brother who teaches there at Zeeburg Secondary. So shout out to my brother who's a teacher, Faisal Baksh at Zeeburg Secondary. To all the teachers that are watching us tonight, shout out to you guys, because you have all paved the way for us to have and be who we are today. Do you think, Chris, that your upbringing is a huge part of your success today? What you saw, what you dealt with, and the diversity and everything that you saw at a very young age. Do you think that helped to create the person that you are today?
Oh,
And helped
absolutely. Absolutely.
to really, I'm sure in your world of customer experience and success, you deal with different people. So do you think it really played a major role in preparing you for the world as it is today?
Oh, absolutely, unequivocally. I mean, if I look at, truth be told, at Zeebrugge School, it's probably one of the worst school to go to if you have an active imagination. So I would be in class, and for those of you who don't know, Zeebrugge School is located right beside the Atlantic Ocean, and sometimes when the wave hits the ocean, the seawall itself, you can feel some of that mist coming through the school. And I used to be a pirate whilst mathematics was being taught on a ship. I was Robinson Crusoe sailing down. I daydreamed mercilessly. I looked with great envy at the fisher people and who were putting dry shrimp to dry out on the seawalls, and envied them greatly. So my academic pedigree back then was distracted, you can say, at best. But there you learn again that it was. I'm always an observer. Ever since as a child, there was this relatability. I never wore shoe once I was in the presence of my dad, and I felt most of the kids were impoverished. They didn't have shoes. I would hide my shoes and run barefoot feet just so that I can have this normalizing, harmonizing experience with the community and the people around. So definitely that teaches you that in order to be relatable in life, you need to be an experiencer of what people were going through. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is, and I say this with utmost love and respect for all, I think in school, there was almost a crowd that was almost elitist in people who were intelligent and who were bright, right? There was cliques being formed, and the bright kids would stick together and almost look down in a condescending way. Not everybody, again, disclaimer, sometimes. So my guidance for people, it's, when you get to a point where you're a little bit more gifted academically, you should also learn the grace of maybe adjusting to people who may not be on the same academic sphere as you. And case in point today, I'm finding out I've hired, over 10,000 people in my career. I'm finding out that people who are much more balanced and placed, not only academically, but has understood the tapestry of life and have lived experiences and trials and tribulation, and have worked and have given and have selflessly done things for others, are much more well placed for success as things progress. So those are all things that I have learned as I went through. My grandmother, sister, Hegaji, I call her, she was one of the most, I think when I look back at the most influential words that I was given, I think it came from her. She was a poor fruit seller. She used to sell fruit at Lenore Market. And at 72 years old, she would put a basket on her head and she would put some fruits that she would get in the backyard, and she would go out and sell it at the market. And I remember very clearly, she was packing this basket to take to the market. And I asked her, hey, Grandma, she was carefully moving the damaged fruits to the corner. And I said, hey, why don't you hide some of the damaged ones underneath the good ones? You'll have more to sell. And she paused for a moment, and the wisdom until today really shapes me. She paused and she said, son, I do not sell fruits. I sell my family's name. So that has stuck with me throughout my life thus far. I think when I put the name Singh behind something, it means something. It should stand for something as a brand.
An important lesson as well. I mean, it might be simple words that she spoke, but I'm sure those words sat with you for every day of your life, even when you think of, doing something, inappropriate or not to the best of those words will ring in your ears. So again, our grandparents, our parents have ways of saying things to us that they don't know the impact. Sometimes it's good. I would like to think it's mostly for the good, but sometimes it can leave other things that's not so pleasant in our ears as well.
Absolutely. Good point.
Now, you are highly successful in the world of business and customers. Explain to us, what does your job entail? Tell us what you do as the expert, right? And customer experience and customer success.
So maybe just a quick step back in terms of, I think that the science of people, I don't care if we're immersive in technology. I was the head of innovation for one of the largest company in digital business. They had over 45,000 employees in that area, SAP. It's a $35 billion company. And I was the head of innovation and engineering for the digital business service area. And in there, even though it's immersive on technology, and disclaimer, I never studied technology, but it's through applying yourself, through life experiences and having a logical mind, I was fortunate to get that position. But nothing can be done, no matter what you do, without the human equation, without people and the science of understanding people. So I think anything you do in life, it's predicated on people, even if it's immersive technology. So that's one side of it. Prior to me leaving SAP, I got a phone call from this company called Blackbaud. And quite honestly, I had to double take. I was the executive sponsor for ExxonMobil. At the C-level, I dealt with all of the big companies in the world. Could walk into Carlos Slim, who was at the time the second richest man in the world, in Sanborns in Mexico. And his sons knew me and who ran the business. So met all kinds of people, know all kinds of company. And when I was approached by Blackbaud, I said I didn't know the company and what the purpose was. And I was very dismissive at first. I said, no, I'm not interested in leaving SAP. I've had an 18-year run there doing head of innovation, engineering, customer success, all kinds of jobs, business development in that space. And when they explained to me that Blackbaud is the world's largest social good company, processing over $100 billion a year on their platforms going to social good all over the globe. It's 100 plus countries and millions of users and beneficiaries. I paused and I thought, I'm 52 years old and I've had a good run in the technology space. I've been fortunate financially. Can we look at now putting technology with purpose behind, going into the back end of my career? So Blackbaud is the world's largest social good company. What does social good means? Any nonprofit organizations. Blackbaud provides the software and solution for them to do fundraising. If you think of higher education, from admitting students in many universities in the US and Canada, from admission to fundraising of students. If you look at educational services, we provide all facets of educational services. In the healthcare sector, if you think of a hospital, if you think of the Canadian Cancer Society or the Heart and Stroke Foundation, they all run Blackbaud solution to fundraise, but not only fundraise, to really dispel learning and education. Quite recently, I was part of an acquisition team where we bought Everfi, a company that does what you call environmental social governance. In that space, what they do, if you think of the environment, pollution, how do you control it? How do you leverage the solution to make people aware of their footprint in carbon, as an example, emissions, how do you control it? Any social-based programs where you have employees trying to give to their causes and charities, how do you orchestrate that? And just the governance that you can put in or around that whole space. We acquired Everfi for about $750 million. And now working closely at expanding what Blackbaud does across the spectrum of social good.
Wow. That is a lot, Chris. How does a simple kid from Iflat Ocean View, which most people don't even know the name of where we came from, go to a guy who is part of some of the largest company, like you rightfully said?
I think, and I'm not just pandering to you because it's your show. I was privy to your show even before it became a show. You and I had a conversation, and I didn't know you too well. I have to be honest. When you approached me and you said, "Hey, I'm thinking of this show. You're in business." I really love the fact that you went from intent to results. The fact that I'm here today means that you have done something right, and in your own right, you have now gone from an idea to action to execution that has brought you here. And now we have this discussion. I remember you had said one day you'll be on the show and we'll have a chat. But it's that kind of commitment to making sure that you have a view to producing results, that you live in results as a society. You don't live in intention. I intend to be a billionaire. If you don't go out, and I don't intend to be a billionaire, but I'm just saying, if you intend to be a billionaire, you better go out and really dig in and work hard towards being a billionaire. And you need to start showing results against what you're working. So for me personally, it's application. I remember very clearly, I knew I was in the medical space, working at Toronto's General Hospital, doing testing in the infectious disease and blood work area. And after my dad passed in 1991, he had an amazing battle with cancer of the highest dignity and grace. He passed away in 1991. I wanted to get out of that whole medical field and really get something. And I knew nothing about technology. And again, this judgment or lack thereof. I met this white kid, pale as a ghost. He worked for a company called Triversity. Pale as a ghost, into rave parties, piercing everywhere. And you could have been very dismissive of just looking at him. He knew every single thing about a motherboard, serial ports, every single thing. And he would dissect a computer with amazing skill. And I learned off him. He was very gracious and selfless with his knowledge. And then the second person who I am crediting my sole success to was a Black Jamaican fellow whose accent was so thick that you had to listen very carefully to what he's saying in order to understand it. And if you were to judge linguistically the skill of people, because sometimes as Guyanese, we are prone to say this person speaks fluently, so they must be smart. And this person may have a lisp or an accent, so therefore they're less smarter. Absolutely furthest thing from the truth. So this fellow, he really imparted some amazing SaaS-based, application-based knowledge, selflessly gave. So on the backs of those people, I learned the fundamentals of technology and then worked tirelessly. I wanted to get my mom in a home. I remember when my sister and I bought our first home, $24 were left from my paycheck after the mortgage was paid, because we wanted to get mom in a home and make sure that, Dad didn't see the fruits of any of our labor in Canada. He passed away shortly after we came. And we wanted to double down and make sure that my mom had a different experience. So there was this burning fire. Was money a focus? Hell yeah. In the early going of first 6 years of my career, I think I moved 16 positions in 6 years. But it was never at the peril of cutting somebody's throat. It was always about helping, giving, guiding, coaching, being selfless, eager to learn, and knowing that somebody was always smarter than you. And really making sure that in the greater good of everyone, you'll find your own place in society and companies and professionalism.
I absolutely agree with you, Chris, and I can't wait to hear more. We do have questions coming in as well, so keep the questions coming in. We'll take a question right after this message.
Hibiscus has been a flagship restaurant in our community for a very long time. Come dine with us and enjoy our excellent food, drinks and service at any one of our many locations. We are located on 12418 101 Avenue and 22113 Jamaica Avenue. Hibiscus at Elliott's on the Mile in Freeport is one of our newest locations, along with 12402 Rockaway Boulevard. In Guyana at 91 Middle Street, Georgetown. Bring your family and friends and come visit us soon.
M&R Firefest is one of the newest hotspots in Richmond Hill. If you're looking to have a fun time or just chill, this lounge is the place to be. We celebrate all occasions and our live entertainment and drink specials are amazing. We are located at 13123 Liberty Avenue. Come check us out and see what everyone is talking about.
Mandy's Cake Creations, serving traditional rum black cake with almond paste and royal icing. Non-alcoholic is also an option. Catering is available. Personalize your cakes and boxed favors for your birthday, engagements, weddings, work events and more. Shipping is also available within the United States. Please contact Mandy at 917-294-3500 on Instagram Mandy K Creations and on Facebook Amanda Khan. Mandy's Cakes, a taste to bring you back home.
Flamingo Restaurant and Mantra Lounge. We are NYC's premier Caribbean restaurant and lounge, specializing in authentic West Indian, Chinese, and Caribbean cuisine. Open every day for lunch and late nights. For delivery, find us on Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless, and DoorDash. Visit our rooftop lounge upstairs on the weekends for a fun-filled night. We cater and take bookings for private events. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Flamingo Mantra. Our address is 120-06 Rockaway Boulevard, telephone 7188351000.
Canadian-based real estate broker Imran Ali is here to guide and support you for all your real estate needs. He is specialized in residential, commercial and pre-construction properties. With his many years of experience, he is trustworthy, knowledgeable and reliable. He can also provide in-house financing for all your mortgage needs. If you're thinking of buying, selling or investing, contact Imran Ali today at 647-283-4127.
All right, we are back. Please call Imran Ali for all your real estate needs. Imran is one of my very dear cousins, and I will appreciate you guys giving him a call. For all our Canadians that are joining us, please call Imran Ali for all your needs. I also want to remind everyone that Mantra Lounge, their upstairs, their rooftop is now available, open to the public. So please check them out this weekend. Chris, thank you for your patience, and we are back. I do want to take this question from Amy Knott. She says, what suggestion would you offer in keeping employees engaged and providing a great customer experience while under pressure in a competitive space?
Oh, beautiful. And I know Amy quite well. She's a good friend. And I think that question is just an absolutely amazing one. I think if you look at what Steve Jobs said, I think he nailed it definitively. And the evidence is in this creature here in my hand, which is the iPhone and the experience. So he said that you don't build products. Even if service, you're trying to build a service. You start with the customer experience first, and then you work your way backwards into a product. So I think if you really contemplate upon what differentiates you, because everybody will make something, and before long, competition will come in and really drive this competitiveness that's good for society in many ways. I remember, not going to disclose too much, but a cousin and I was having a chat. He had, I'll just anonymize it a little bit. He has a store, and in that store, he was complaining that, he's losing business. The guy next door came in and killed his business, and he was complaining. And I looked around, and I noticed something really, really compelling. One, the store was exactly as I remembered it 20 years before, but the upstairs was tinted, beautifully air-conditioned, stunning home. Most of the profits from the business went upstairs for indulgence on a personal level, and very little of it went back into customers. So this is a classic example of, what goes in comes back out. I think, Amy, it's really key to start with an experience that makes absolutely vital sense to a person, and then working your way to the value, because experience and value in anything you do, if you have experience and you have this value, when you combine those two, it's the holy grail of providing service. So identifying what your niche market is or what's so special about you, differentiating your experience, making sure you listen, learn, and act when your customer speaks. Quite often in subtle hints, if you own a little cake shop and somebody comes in and they take a bite and they leave most of the cake on your table and walk away, as you're clearing up the dish, you should make an observation to say, you know what, within my own value system, I'm getting feedback without a customer even speaking a word. So how do I observe that and translate that back into a better example? By the way, when that customer comes in back the next time, wouldn't it be great to say, hey, I noticed you left. Can I give you a free one? And what is it about this one that made you didn't finish it? Simple question, you get this input. Now you have this billion-dollar enterprise called experiential surveys, where they poll people to get these kinds of information so they can innovate. and make things better. I think it's really listen, learn, act, because it's one thing to listen, it's one thing to learn, but you need to act based on what you learn. And this is called insight or data-driven insight. There's insight all around us. If you buy clothing from somebody and you do a follow-up, and you call them and say, hey, how did that wedding go? Did that dress fit you okay? And you get a response, no, it's too tight, material tore. You know exactly what you need to do. So I think this whole listen, learn, act, and being true to what your business is and reinvesting in it is really key. You can't invest in the upstairs with air conditioning for your own personal benefit, and the downstairs is exactly the way it was 20 years ago. That would not work. And competition will drive that. It's key to make sure you understand it and you do it with integrity, to really make sure that you're listening and you're acting on behalf of your customer base.
I agree totally with you, and it's definitely great advice as well for anyone that's listening, that's a business owner or planning to start their own business. It's great advice because these are all key things that you need, right? Sometimes we don't think of things in that manner, but that's the reality of how it should be. She says, great analogy, Chris. Thanks for your feedback. So, Chris, I know success may seem simple today, but like many others, you had your share of struggles academically to find yourself. What is your advice to parents that has kids that are performing at an average level or below?
I'm here to definitively tell you, I've interviewed, like I said, and hired over 10,000 people in my career. When I went to Ocean View, forgive me for this, but it was called Ocean View Cowpen School. Not meant to be derogatory, but I went there, I wrote this common entrance, which places you into a secondary school, and that determines where you're going to go. I actually ended up, I think, if memory serves me right, but the highest mark ever recorded there, I got in at Georgetown, one of the main schools. I didn't want to go to that school. I had personal reasons why I wanted to go to Zeeburg. I knew I was going to get a bike from my dad, and there were some friends I was going to ride to school with in that. And shortly thereafter, I honestly could not pay attention. I had and truth be told, I had a math teacher who hit me when I was very little, and he split my earlobe with a wall cane. And he was a math teacher. And from that moment, I had this aversion to mathematics. Some of my staff may be on here from Blackbaud. I joke and often say, mathematically, I'm challenged. Yet I run a P&L, that was billions of dollars in other places. But, education is a funny thing. Parents push their kids towards academia. And, most of the great people who turn out to do things of consequence were not great students. And not everybody needs to be a lawyer, doctor, an executive. There are people in trade who is holding up society. If you look at COVID, the very professions that we would be thumbing our noses at as parents because of the prestige of it or perceived prestige during COVID, if we didn't have anybody driving trucks and fetching and hauling things, we'd all be dead. So all of the degrees hanging on the walls were not as consequential as the people who were into the trade. So everybody has a calling in life. Everybody has something they're good at. It may not be within the confines of a cover to cover of a textbook. Some people have photographic memories and they remember things very well. But when you put them, and I'm seeing this every single day in our hiring practices, there are a lot of academics from PhD level that I've hired that have failed miserably because they can't translate what they've learned in a practical, relatable way. And if you have this elite sort of view on academics, and you don't liaise with a wide cross section of people, how in the world, when you become a leader, are you going to relate to all spectrums of jobs and people who come through? Because they're varied, nobody's identical. And this is where I think parents really need to learn that child who may be struggling in school may have a purpose and a calling that is supreme and great and you would torture the life of that child by depriving them. Really quickly, I did this judgment on, I was judging a contest here in Canada, in Toronto, the Mars Institute. And I had somebody from Harvard, myself, and we were doing something. And it's a group of kids, they become CEO, CIO, CFO of a company, and they pitch their ideas. And they run it like a company. You give funding and so forth. And as they were doing their pitch, this little Asian Canadian kid, he pitched beautifully as a CFO, unbelievable. He was probably around 12 years old, and he was spectacular, no different than a CEO who is seasoned. I was so impressed. And afterwards, I met with him and his parents. They were lingering around, and I commended him highly, and he started crying. And I thought, holy crap, I'm going to get into big trouble here. I'm making a student or somebody cry. And I asked him, what's wrong? And he said, my parents wants me to go into medicine, but I love what I just did. And I was now mediating between the parent and him, and they didn't know. They thought, he thought, and they reconciled. And about a year later, I got a message on LinkedIn, and he was so happy. His dad actually sent me a co-mail between him and his dad, and they view it as a turning point in his life because he was always alone. He would lock himself in the room, withdrawn. And from that moment, he found his calling and has progressed. So I think sometimes when we extend ourselves, subconscious ego, and we project it on kids of what you think is right for them, I honestly think it's doing a mega set of harm on people.
Agreed. And parents, if you're listening, which I know most of you are, give the kids a break at times. You know, your job is really to guide them, but guide them. Don't demand. All right. With that said, we're going to go to a quick message from our sponsors. Chris will come right back with 6 and 60.
Kai Chu Restaurant has been serving our community for over 25 years. We offer an enticing selection of West Indian traditional dishes along with a fully stocked bar. Bring your family and friends to our newly renovated dining room to celebrate your special occasion or event with us. We do catering and we also deliver. Kai Chu has 2 locations to choose from. Support our community and eat local. Looking for something to get rid of that fine line wrinkles? Well, look no further. You can now indulge yourself with Truly Flawless. This one-of-a-kind, anti-aging caviar luxury face cream will give you that youthful-looking glow again. It's not only for you ladies, men can also benefit from this product too. Try it for yourself and see results within a week. Check out our website at www.trulyflawlessskincare.com and on Amazon Prime. We are also excited to launch our newest skincare products coming in March 2022.
Enos Driving School offers training for CDL licenses, including tractor-trailers, trucks, and school buses. Just think, with a CDL license, you can have access to thousands of driving jobs at large companies such as FedEx, UPS, MTA, or New York Sanitation. Enos Driving School also offers defensive driving courses and training classes for cars and motorcycles, all taught by their college-trained instructors who can even schedule your road test appointments. Inquire about other driving and training packages as well. You might even be qualified for their free CDL training, as they are a certified institution with the New York State Workforce One program. Call Enos Driving School today. They've been serving our community for over 10 years.
Sherry's Weakness for Sweetness is a family-owned and operated bakery with a West Indian flair. We specialized in custom cakes, decorative desserts, and a contemporary spin on traditional West Indian cuisine. We are located at 114-07 Jamaica Avenue. Hours of operations are Tuesday through Friday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Memories should always be this sweet. Come visit us today.
All right, we are back, Chris. We're going to play a little game we like to call 6 in 60 here. Here are the rules. I'm going to ask you 6 questions, and you will have 60 seconds to answer the questions. All right. It's very, very simple questions. So with that said, here is our little timer. I'm going to ask you the first question and I'll turn it over. All right. Name of your favorite book.
Grapes of Wrath.
Grapes of Wrath. Your favorite quote.
How shall it profit a man if he gains the world and loses his soul?
Oh, nice. Dine in or dine out?
Depends on who, both, but I would say in.
In. Name of a country that begins with the letter C.
Canada.
Ooh. Is your glass half full or half empty?
My cup runneth over.
One word to describe yourself.
At peace. One word. Peaceful.
Peaceful. You got it. You did it with like little, you have a lot of time. So congratulations, you won.
Great.
So I do see, I'm sure these are some of your co-workers that's joining us, and they want to hear more about, Blackbaud and what your calling is and all that. So I am happy that they took the time to really join us tonight and to, be here with us. Now, Chris, I know that you have had many experiences in your life, right? Give me a second. Now, what is your favorite song from your teenage years that you still rock out to until this day? I'll go first. Mine is Vogue by Madonna.
Wow, rock
What is
out
yours?
to. I love everything about Bob Marley. I would say Redemption Song is one of my favorite tunes to just chill and turn inwards.
Very nice. One of my absolute favorite as well. Now, we're waiting. If you guys have questions, please send it in. If someone wrote a book about your life, what would the title be?
The Little Engine That Did.
The Little Engine That Did. I love it. And I can't think of a better title too. The Little Engine. Wow. All right, we're gonna just do like really simple, plain questions, right? What do you do for relaxation?
I read, played cricket. I play hockey quite frequently, ice hockey, love skating, love getting in on the ice. It's such a freedom going in, chatting with people. I'm not transactional, meaning that if I'm with you, I'm with you and I'm in the moment. I'm not distracted by my phone or things around me if I'm with you. So those are it: reading, playing cricket, hockey, people, and being around people.
Very nice. Now, I know you're very busy, right? As we all know, you're very, very busy. How do you find a balance with work, family, travel, and everything else that you do?
It's simple. I think for me, losing my dad 6 years after we came to Canada, you think you have a lifetime, and you think that you've got the essence of time, and you've got time, flexibility of time on your side. And then little do you realize that somebody who was larger than life and iconic to you and your best friend suddenly departs. You quickly realize that time is limited, and the candle burns, and it burns fast. So I always make sure that, my mom is first and foremost, my sisters, my nieces, nephews. I make sure that I'm a fixture in their life. As a matter of fact, I moved back from the USA. I was 6 years there in Philadelphia. moved back to Canada so I can be with family. Very important. I prioritize family over job and everything else, because I think at the end of the day, in your final waning moments, as you're ready to go gently into the good night, you look around and what you will see is not your accomplishments, certificates, money hanging on the wall. It's usually tear-eyed people who value your life and what is meant to them. So I'm very careful and thoughtful about that aspect of life, for sure.
Now, I think you kind of answered it, but you kind of not. This question, listen to it very carefully. What would you rather throw away? Love or money?
Oh, easily. I throw away money every single day. Seriously, and I don't have a disdain for money. Money has come easily over time because it's I want to be respectful to money, but love is everything. It's what drives this universe. It's what gives peace. So for me, and I seriously mean that, I would trade in any monetary value. If you were to ask me if somebody has a dire need, and I have a few notes, pieces of paper that some mint has printed something on it, and you say, hey, this person is going to get a life-saving something, versus me holding that into my pocket. Ever since I was a child, I had this identification with people with needs and was very generous and continue to be so today. So that's an easy choice.
Amit Kumar says, Chris, keep you doing the great work. How much is your company involved in in communities affected by disasters? Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Amit Kumar. Amit is from the Queens area here, not too far from where I live. And last year, their area was affected by a hurricane that hit New York City. And it's a major disaster for this community, and they lost a lot. His parents are still not in their home. I actually did a special on what happened. It was an unfortunate event, but how does I guess what he's asking is, how is your company involved in communities affected by disasters?
The company I work for, Blackbaud, it's very deeply involved in disasters. As an example, in Ukraine, what's happening there spun up a lot of charities that has spun up, and they're leveraging Blackbaud to help that. We also match employees' donation to certain kinds of disasters, and we also donate at a corporate level. We have this criteria that is weighted against certain kinds of disaster, like the one that occurred in Afghanistan and other areas. Tornado had torn through parts of the U.S. We would give, and Blackbaud usually gives very generously because we walk the talk in what we do for a living. Almost every single employee is on a board for nonprofits or some society. So tons of work involved in giving back to communities that are affected. At the corporate level, there is a judgment and an assessment. And then once it meets certain kinds of criteria, there is gifts and donations going monetarily. And then at the individual level, if I have, like Shameeza, if she has registered something, I could donate towards that. And then the company will do a matching on what I've done, obviously with some upper limits, but definitely that's what makes employees resonate. Also, that the company is standing behind the value on the why we all came and work for.
Now, speaking of your company and co-workers, right? How do you think your co-workers will describe you? If I was to ask one of them that's on here right now about Chris, how do you think they will describe you?
I honestly want to be careful my ego doesn't start crossing in, because I killed that many years ago. I think they would say, I think the word empathetic is overused, but I'm human first, and I look at the human equation always. I'm fair and balanced. It's you lead people and you manage things, and I think there's a clear distinction between it. And sometimes people confuse that management means you're leading people and you're managing them in a way. No, management means you manage a P&L, a project plan, and you lead people. And there's a clear distinction between the two. and understanding your place in that you're there to serve the people first. I remember when I was in Philadelphia, I was scared to death. I just got this job to start up a team in the cloud, as SAP was just driving in the cloud with tons of challenges. And I pulled three people, with three little people, we started a business that grew from zero to 1.7 billion euros in revenue for SAP. And that was on the belief of people. And people believed in the vision because you allowed them to be part of the vision and you showed them their place in the vision. And then everybody followed suit. Within 3 years, we had $1.7 billion that we had generated from scratch on an idea we had conceived for SAP. And I think that's looking at total contract value that's crossing to about $2 billion right now, euros, not even dollars. So I think conviction in people and making sure that you're honest with people and you go beyond empathy really works well.
So that's how you think they will describe it, especially people like who's watching here and now. I see you have someone from Costa Rica, Ingrid.
Yeah.
I see Ingrid, Gopal Ramutar. I know he is from Ocean View. Maybe Dave, Dolly Kunji, that person says, what's your secret of your balanced life? Which you kind of answered already earlier in the show. But great answer. Stay right where you are, and we will go to our messages from our sponsors.
Hibiscus has been a flagship restaurant in our community for a very long time. Come dine with us and enjoy our excellent food, drinks and service at any one of our many locations. We are located on 12418 101 Avenue and 22113 Jamaica Avenue. Hibiscus at Elliott's on the Mile in Freeport is one of our newest locations, along with 12402 Rockaway Boulevard. In Guyana at 91 Middle Street, Georgetown. Bring your family and friends and come visit us soon.
M&R Firefest is one of the newest hotspot in Richmond Hill. If you're looking to have a fun time or just chill, this lounge is the place to be. We celebrate all occasions and our live entertainment and drink specials are amazing. We are located at 13123 Liberty Avenue. Come check us out and see what everyone is talking about.
Mandy's Cake Creations, serving traditional rum black cake with almond paste and royal icing. Non-alcoholic is also an option. Catering is available. Personalize your cakes and boxed favors for your birthday, engagements, weddings, work events and more. Shipping is also available within the United States. Please contact Mandy at 917-294-3500 on Instagram Mandy Cake Creations and on Facebook Amanda Khan. Mandy's Cakes, a taste to bring you back home.
Flamingo Restaurant and Mantra Lounge. We are NYC's premier Caribbean restaurant and lounge, specializing in authentic West Indian, Chinese and Caribbean cuisine. Open every day for lunch and late nights. For delivery, find us on Uber Eats, Grubhub, Seamless and DoorDash. Visit our rooftop lounge upstairs on the weekends for a fun-filled night. We cater and take bookings for private events. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Flamingo Mantra. Our address is 120-06 Rockaway Boulevard, telephone 7188351000.
Canadian-based real estate broker Imran Ali is here to guide and support you for all your real estate needs. He is specialized in residential, commercial and pre-construction properties. With his many years of experience, he is trustworthy, knowledgeable and reliable. He can also provide in-house financing for all your mortgage needs. If you're thinking of buying, selling or investing, contact Imran Ali today at 647-283-4127.
All right, Chris, we are back. I promise that was our last one. Indira Singh says, what's your vision for the next 20 years?
Oh boy. Technology is dominating things and changing the way we think about certain things. I do think that many of the scourges we know in terms of diseases will get breakthroughs, and you'll have new generational diseases, and the ones we are used to as a generation, couple generations plus, in terms of cancers and so forth. I honestly believe that we'll have very conclusive breakthroughs in those areas, and I think COVID has really put on the fore a lot of these kinds of cutting edge research that can now lead into mainstream help in diseases. I do think machine learning and artificial intelligence is here to stay. I think that when you look at the metaverse and you know what's coming, for example, you would have surgeons now no longer going to classroom. They'll just snap on a device and they're in a virtual augmented reality room. As the former head of innovation and digital business services, I studied this area very, very carefully and help companies build some of the newer innovations that are coming or has come and been released. I think you will see a lot of classroom getting completely reshaped with augmented reality and the metaverse. I do think that you will have this pining for human interaction because autonomous vehicle, things that are coming. I think fossil fuel. I know Guyana is now really proud, and as we should be, and celebratory that we have that. I honestly think that this Ukrainian crisis, as an example, will fast track dramatically these large countries' dependence on fossil fuel, and it could be a catalyst to going to electric and other alternate source of energy much more rapidly. I think this triggering event has fast forwarded this by years, and you will see a big push to much more sustainable energy sources coming forward. So I think you're going to see technology dominate. Things will get easier. And I think that for me personally, and again, all opinions I'm saying here is Chris Singh's personal opinion. It's not any of the boards I sit on or my company. I honestly think that there will be this disconnect with humanity because I'm also seeing more and more kids getting separation anxiety from their phones, and they're becoming less and less human in many interactions, social interaction. And I think if this continues, I'm glad I may not be alive in 20 years. Not that I'm against technology, but I think that's something. One of the other things, maybe really quickly, I wanted to get in. We often speak about Guyana, and I brought that up. And I think I wish all the best. I know Timothy Tucker. I've got Mishka Puran out there, brilliant people who does amazing work, true, honest, integrity-driven work. If I were to look at that space, one of the things I'm really proud of, I have never, ever, and I would ask anybody on here or in Guyana to call me on it, accepted a favor from anybody in Guyana that is an official or due process. I think quite often in Guyana, the first time I went back to Guyana after 18 years of being in Canada, I remember very clearly I was in the customs area and somebody came to clear me from customs. They came right in and I refused. And the Shibnarine Chandrapal, the cricketer, was two persons behind me, and he said, "Hey, that's how it works here, buddy. Go." And I refused, and I went to due process an hour and a half late, but I went through due process. I believe that anytime you ask for a favor and you impugn the integrity of a natural process, we always speak about government officials being corrupt. I think sometimes we subconsciously and unconsciously corrupt the process by not having enough patience, by asking for that favor or asking a family who is in a position to get something done ahead of due process. Sometimes the process can be extraneous. I know. I go back on vacation. I take my mom every single year, COVID withstanding, and I throw a big birthday party for her at Pegasus rooftop every single year. I have never really pulled any string to get something done. If it means I stay 4 hours in a line, I wait 4 hours in the line because I refuse to impugn the integrity of the process. Then I'm just as guilty of the government officials I complain about. And I think that's something we have to really take a hard look at, because the same people who are complaining are the ones who often pollute the system and the process.
Agreed. Sharon Deborah says, tell us about your calling to greater good.
It's kind of funny. I mean, it's greater good is always persistent, consistent in me. But when you look at technology and Sharon, really, for me personally, I wanted to make sure that, I'm 52 years old and the clock is ticking. I want to make sure that what I put my stamp behind in technology, that it is serving some purpose to humanity, some much greater purpose. I think if you look at being touched by personal tragedies like my dad passing away, you get this keen sense of, who are others in similar position like him, and how can you affect and impact those kinds of situation when you think of women's shelter, um, when you think of World Wildlife Funds, and you think of hospitals and cancer fighting. The solution supports their purpose. The solution is not software. It's the solution satisfies all of these purposes. And to go home at night knowing that something that you have helped inspired and built, and the services that you have, I have the technology group, I have the consulting group, the success group, the support group, and some other groups in my remit at Blackbaud. It's over 1,000 plus people. And you know every single day that they're warriors, they're social good warriors who goes out and changes society and helps an abused woman. You just spoke at the top of your show, Shameeza, about these graphic examples of violence and how you can help. And then you see the purpose and the help right in front of your eyes, and people getting help. That is a very, very powerful thing. And it's there. I believe in all religions. I take good from almost every single religion there is. And the commonality is this goodness that's a unifier, no matter what your denomination and religion is.
Absolutely.
So,
Amy says that, Chris, I now understand why you have never ventured into politics, because your brand is all about integrity. And I totally agree with her. I think you and I even had this conversation before, where you see yourself in the future and all that. And we spoke a lot about politics and what you have seen, your time in Guyana, what you have seen, what you've experienced. And I stand with you when it comes to integrity. There is a lot of boundaries that I wouldn't cross and I wouldn't get into, because I truly believe in who I am and what my belief, what I was taught, what I know, and what experiences in life has taught me.
Yeah, you have to stand for something. And at the end of the day, if my favorite saying is, how shall it profit a man if he gains the, or woman, if he or she gains the world and lose their soul in the process? Don't want to do that. Not for some paperbacks that is sitting in a bank somewhere. Not really interested in that. Now, if I can make a difference in shaping the politicians to be a lot more integrity driven, that's an area I'm definitely looking to influence and really guide and shape.
So
that I'm really interested in.
So maybe Indira, you probably will see in the next 20 years, 10 to 20 years, maybe, who knows? Chris will be an advisor, consultant to politicians. Who knows, right? Now, almost everything that you have said tonight and everything that we've discussed come to this point where I ask you this last question, Chris. What is your legacy? What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your legacy to be?
I want somebody somewhere to sit long after I'm gone and say, you know what? I just had a thought about this Chris Singh fellow. And you know what? He made my life easier because he existed. It's that simple. If that is done, wherever my spirit is, wherever my presence is, I will smile and bow my head in thank you and gratitude for that.
Just making that one little difference in the world.
That's all it is. One step.
Powerful indeed.
I think Gandhi said, a single act of kindness is worth 1,000 head bowed in prayers. And I'm a firm believer in that your action should mean something for people. And when you're gone, they should look back and say, you know what, gosh, that guy was very helpful.
Agreed. And Chris, you've been a great inspiration to my life. So I'll probably be that one, if I'm still alive, saying those words. Because for many who don't know, Chris has been more of a mentor to me. When I was starting Get Real with Shameeza, I reached out to him. I asked for his help, his guidance, and his words, even though he was not into, doing shows and all that. Just his support and guidance to get me where I am today. I'm forever grateful. So thank you again, Chris. Thank you for being here tonight. I look forward to many more conversations with you and possibly doing, maybe who knows, Indira, maybe in 5 years, Chris and I will be having a conversation again. I hope it's not 5 years from now, but I hope that in 5 years we still will be having conversations. Tonight, in closing, I want to say that Chris has taught me that no matter where life and success take you, you always stay true to yourself. Trust the process and never forget where you came from, especially if that place is a little village that most wouldn't even remember the name. Make such a huge impact that they wouldn't forget your name. And then you gently remind them, I'm from Ocean View, Iflet. Next week, we will speak to the advisor on investments and diaspora affairs, Fazal Youssef. We will speak of Guyana Isle, your opportunity to invest there, and how and what the process is like. Please send your questions in. Until next time, be humble, be kind, and never forget where you came from. Good night now.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye bye.